Not events, have the power to make me happy or unhappy today. Those are the words of Groucho Marx, a man well accustomed to bringing joy into the lives of others. But how do we achieve it? What are the magic ingredients for happiness? One of the top theorists in the field, the American psychologist Martin Seligman, who has encouraged British Prime Minister David Cameron to look into measuring the well-being of the population, has rejigged his formula in a new book. My colleague Jeremy Paxman spoke to him.
What makes you happy? In 2002, Professor Martin Seligman's theory, authentic happiness, laid out a way of scoring the happiness of individuals. His work spawned the phrase positive psychology and prompted shelves full of self-help books and, in the professor's view, an overemphasis on cheeriness. So, a revised theory which distills down to the acronym PERMA, experiencing positive emotions, being aware of feelings as they happen, relating to others well, finding meaning in your life, and getting a sense of achievement. He's already inspired David Cameron to announce last year that there'll be a move to try to measure our gross national happiness. Professor Seligman is here now. Can you really make people feel well at a time like this?
Well, yes, I actually think you can. The question is, how's life going for you, or how's life going for a nation? Traditionally, we've measured the economics of it, but what we want to know about in addition is how much positive emotion we have, how good are our relationships, how engaged are we at work with the people we love, how much meaning we have. And those are measurable.
Are you a naturally cheery chap?
No, quite the opposite. I'm a born pessimist and a depressive. Actually, I think only a pessimist can do serious science on optimism and cheerfulness.
Yes, doesn't that make you wonder whether it's really worth aiming for?
Yes, I think it's a very good question. And the issue is there something over and above getting rid of misery? So all of public policy, therapy is aimed at getting rid of misery. The question is, what's above zero? And that's what positive psychology is about.
Okay, well-being is somewhere above zero.
Yes, beauty is not just the absence of ugliness, bravery is not just the absence of cowardice, and well-being is not just the absence of misery. It's the presence of real things.
But isn't it an immensely selfish preoccupation?
Well, not quite. Actually, the single, if you're depressed right now, and you ask me, what's the single most mood-lifting thing you can do? It's to go out and help another person. Turns out the way our hedonic system is built, doing something for another person, probably the single biggest boost.
So all our viewers sitting at home, give them one piece of advice about improving their sense of well-being about life.
Well, there are quite a number of pieces, but one easy piece is when we have people every night before they go to sleep write down 3 things that went well today and why they went well. It's addicting, and 6 months later, in random assignment placebo-controlled tests, people who do this are happier, higher life satisfaction, lower depression. Being conscious of the things that go well in your life.
But the thing I liked actually of yours, what would your grandchildren say about you? Is that what?
Right. Well, we're interested in the question: how can you have more meaning in life? And one thing we do is we have people write first their vision of what a positive human future would be, and then write their obituary through their grandchildren's eyes, in which they say what I did to contribute to a positive human future. Builds meaning and purpose in life.
And how is David Cameron supposed to apply this, do you think?
Well, I think the first question is, if we don't measure the right thing, we don't do the right thing. And all we've measured is money. And so the question is first, measuring well-being. Well, it turns out over the last decade, people have found ways of measuring pretty much as well as we can measure schizophrenia or alcoholism, meaning in life, positive emotion, engagement at work, relations with others. So the first thing is to measure the well-being of the British people, and then, and I think this is quite bold of the Prime Minister, to hold oneself accountable for changes in well-being by public policy.
And give us an example.
Well, one thing I work on is schools and school systems, actually in Britain as well as Australia and the United States. So what we do is we take teachers and we teach them the skills of well-being in their own life, and then how to teach it to 10 to 12-year-old children. And then what we do is we follow the children through puberty. And what we find is when teachers learn the skills of well-being, for the next couple of years, children have less depression, less anxiety, and better conduct. So that's an example of a public policy in education that leads to greater well-being.
And if I were to say to you, look, a pig lying around in muck is content, what would you say?
Well, I'm not really after contentment. So I think contentment and the smiley face are not the variables of real psychological interest. They are things like how engaged are you at work, how good are your relations, how much meaning do you have in life. Pig lying around in the muck doesn't have a lot of meaning in life.
And you believe you can give people meaning in life?
Yes, it turns out that unlike the smiley face, which is highly heritable, your parents pass it on to you, meaning in life is everyone's birthright, and it's learnable. And it's teachable by teachers to children. It's teachable in the United States Army.
And that's all for this week from all of us. Goodbye.